Hey friends, Kris here with another Through the Prism of Chrism videocast. We're on the subject of asking, the power of asking. I'm glad you asked this week. Hey, could I just share something that is absolutely amazing? I've shared it all over the United States. Years ago, we lived in Des Moines, Iowa. I was an evangelist. My son was in second grade rather. Wife is working at a flower shop in Des Moines. Des Moines was not the best place for our son because it's a big city and we were gone all the time, or I was gone all the time. So we decided we're moving to Red Oak, Iowa, our hometown, population 6,000. I've got a Saturday to drive to Red Oak and try to scout out a place for us to live. And Deb let me do this on my own. That wouldn't happen very often. And I went there, and as I'm driving, I've got a meeting starting tomorrow, so I don't have time to be looking all over the place for a house. And so as I'm driving the 130 miles from Des Moines to Red Oak, I started to pray. I said, Lord, I don't have all day to be hunting for a place, so the first thing I come to, I need it to be God. Second, I've only got $250 a month that I can afford for rent. Well, that's been years ago. Third, I don't want to live in somebody else's junk. Have you ever prayed that? I need new carpet and I need new paint and I need it badly. Fourth, I said we need a bedroom for me and Deb, a bedroom for Josh, but I've never had my own office. So could you give me a room for an office? And I don't care, God, if it's just a walk-in closet or something, a half a room. I want to have my own office. Then I need a refrigerator. We don't have time to hunt all over the place for a refrigerator, and I don't have the resources for it. I said the next thing, then it dawned on me, Deb's sister, Diane, lives here in Red Oak. I don't know where she lives, but Deb's got a job waiting for her at the calendar factory, so if she works till 5 or so, we're going to have Josh, after school, go over to her sister Diane's and stay there until Deb gets off work. Okay, that's an important point with us. And then it dawned on me, by the way, Diane, Deb's sister, has been watching our pet dog, Laddie, for all these months that we've been living in Des Moines, and she's, I'm sure, going to want us to take our dog back. So wherever we stay, it is going to have to be pet friendly. Okay. I laid all that before the Lord, and I just felt that God was answering. Now listen, where God guides, God provides. The place of his vision's the place of his provision. And I told you the other day, if you don't specify, God can't satisfy. So I was very specific in the prayers that I prayed. All right, I pull into Red Oak. I grab the first newspaper I find. I go down and something jumps out at me, and I called the number, and the guy on the other end, I said, I want to call you about the house that's for rent. He said, we don't have a house for rent. Well, it's going to be in the paper next week. Well, I said, it's in the paper this week. It's amazing how God can change things like that. He said, meet me at 104 Walnut. I got there, and there's this quaint little ranch-style home. It's got a McDonald's to the left, a grocery store to the right, and I thought, man, this is just perfect. I shook his hand. We walked in, and I got hit with that smell of brand new paint and this freshly stretched brand new carpet. He said, it's been sitting for a year and a half. We just decided to list it in next week's paper. I don't know how it got in this week's paper. I know how it did. I walked in and looked at this bedroom, one for us, one for Josh. Then I pulled on this handle and opened this little door. I said, what's this room? He said, it's just kind of a little catch-all closet. Well, it's 6 feet by 12 feet. I said, it's perfect for my office. I went around, saw a hole over here where there should be a refrigerator. I just kind of stared at it. And he said, you don't have a refrigerator? I said, no, and I don't have time to get one. He said, well, we decided that we will put a brand new refrigerator in for whoever comes. Praise God. I shook his hand and said, how much do you want for this place? He said, would $250 a month be okay? I slapped him and said, praise God. I said, could I look in the backyard? Went around the side of the house. I said, the dog. He said, what do you mean the dog? I said, that dog, that's my dog. He said, what do you mean it's your dog? You live in Des Moines. I said, that is my dog. Hello, Laddie. Guess what? The dog was chained to the garage next door, which means what? Deb's sister, Diane, lives next door. Isn't that amazing today? God put every single thing in place, and it was the perfect spot for us to live until we moved for our next assignment. Let me tell you something. God didn't just miraculously answer that prayer. He had everything in place. He knows what you need before you ask him, but he led me to pray the right prayer and to open up my eyes and see the right advertisement, and the rest is history. Could I tell you that God can do similar things for you? Every detail detail of your prayer, God has the answer for, but you have to ask Him. Kris here talking about the power of asking. Tune in tomorrow. We're going to learn more. Not only asking big, asking, believing. I want you to learn to ask bold. We'll see you tomorrow. And be sure to share this with a friend, because there's a lot of people that need to learn that God does answer prayer. See you tomorrow.